So only one firm produces and sells tennis rackets in the country of Hicknam, and as the story begins, there is no international trade of tennis rackets. So the following equations help describe the demand for a monopolist, their marginal revenue, total cost, and the marginal cost of producing tennis rackets. So we're given a series of formulas, and let me just make sure I've got everything cool. So we're given a series of formulas. I double check that there's no typos in the formulas because that would really mess things up for people following along. All right, so the question that we're going to be asked is how much should the monopolist produce and what price should they charge first? So the first thing we need to remember is the question of how much to produce is answered by so we want to produce where the marginal revenue is equal to the marginal cost in order to fit the profit maximization rule. And let's make that real bright and memorable. So we want to know where marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. Well, we're given marginal revenue and we're given marginal cost here. So we'll just, why does it do that? Straight line. There we go. I'll take it. I'll take it and work with it. There we go. So we're given marginal revenue, we're given marginal cost. So we just want to set those two equal to each other. And where we're going to do that is by grabbing this here. It's not, what? There we go. And by grabbing this here, and we end up with a formula Did I just... Whoops. Well, that was the wrong hotkey. All right, so at least we're back here. So 13 minus 2 shift Q, not command Q, is equal to 1 plus Q. And then if we move the Q, so we're going to add Q to both 2Q to both sides. And we end up with 13 minus 1 equals, 1 plus 3Q. And now we'll just subtract 1 from each side. And we end up with 12 equals 3Q. And then if we divide both sides by 4, or 3, we end up with 4 equals Q. In other words, the quantity that we should produce as a monopolist is 4. So the quantity comes from the profit maximization rule. The price is going to come from what consumers are willing and able to pay for that quantity. So we're going to figure out how much consumers are willing and able to pay when the quantity equals 4. So the next step, and let's kind of the price is going to be coming from plugging that into there. So we get P equals 13 minus Q. Q equals 4, so P equals 13 minus 4. P equals 9. So it's just kind of as simple as that in terms of finding the I'm just going to switch that around so it's a little easier to work with. And so to find our profit maximizing price, we simply plug in the profit maximizing quantity to the demand curve. That tells us what consumers are willing and able to pay for that quantity. And in this case, profit will be, so in order to determine profit, what we're going to want to do is compare that to the average total cost, or we could find total revenue and subtract total cost. So I'm trying to decide, should we do it both ways? Should we? Yeah, what we'll do is we're going to take and we're going to get profit. So profit is total revenue minus total cost. Total revenue is price times quantity. So total revenue in this case is 9 times 4. $36 in total revenue. Just keep it there. Let me double check what the stream framing is like. Okay, looking good there. All right, so we've got our total revenue, and now we're just going to plug in the quantity to the total cost function. I don't think I have a way of doing this. Let's do let's just do it that way. So total cost is $3, which would be the fixed cost, plus $4 because it's one per quantity produced. So we're just plugging in Q there. 0.5 times Q squared is going to work to, so 7 plus 8 is 15. 36 minus 15 is 21. Equals, and then profit. It's often represented by the symbol pi, but I can't. I've switched keyboards, so I don't have my hotkey. But profit is going to be 36 minus 15, which is $21. So after some time, it is declared that there will be free trade for the country of Hicknam. The world price for tennis rackets is now $8, and the firm is now a competitive price taker in the world market for tennis rackets. So as a result of the change to free trade, Hicknam now produces how many tennis rackets? And consumers in Hicknam will now buy how many tennis rackets? So what we're going to do is, in order to, we're going to still produce, the firm is now still going to produce where that's a little too. So we're still producing where MR equals MC, but marginal revenue, because we're not a monopolist anymore, marginal revenue so every unit that we sell, every tennis racket that we sell is going to be $8 because we're not a monopolist anymore. So what we're going to do is set the marginal cost equal to that new marginal revenue. So it's 1 plus Q equals 8. And so that means Q equals 7. So even simpler to get to this one, we're just setting our marginal cost as a firm equal to the price that we'll sell it for, which is our marginal revenue. The additional money we'll put in the cash register every time we sell a tennis racket. And so at a price of $8, consumers are going to buy so our demand is such that whatever the price is will be equal to 13 minus the quantity that we buy. So set P equal to $8. We end up with 8 equals 13 minus Q. And Q equals 5, or 13 minus 8. So here in Hicknom, we now buy 5 tennis rackets. Which means since we produce 7 and so the key word here is exported. We're exporting 2 tennis rackets. And that's basically what we need to do with a question like this, is make sure we're starting somewhere along the way in your microeconomics class, especially when you see formulas. You're very, very likely to need the profit maximization rule. So luckily it's very easy to remember, and it's going to relate to a lot of questions, but it also gets the ball rolling. Once we were able to kind of decide that we were going to set 1 plus Q equal to 13 minus 2Q, we were able to kind of run the, align, set like things together and solve for the quantity. With that quantity, we were able to plug in and solve for the price. And with that price, we were able to plug in and solve for total revenue as well as total cost. And then we were able to take that and take total revenue minus total cost to find out profit. And then after kind of looking at it in a no trade domestic situation, we looked at what happens when the world price is lower than the price that we were selling it for before we were trading freely. So we used to pay $9 for our tennis rackets. Now when we can buy them from the rest of the world, we're only paying $8. But we're willing to buy more locally, and that allows our domestic producers to take advantage and export and sell more.